You know the vibes. Welcome to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K23. I am Omusi. Alongside me today, the one and only Mr. Christopher Thomas. CT, how you doing, my brother?
Hello. What's going on?
Man, listen, the Denver Nuggets 1 win away from the NBA Finals.
History.
I know that they're the 1 seed, but who would have thought? You know?
Yeah.
Maybe the most disrespected 1 seed we've ever had in the NBA, right?
Oh, indeed. But that's what makes us so sexy.
Well, everyone talks about playoff Jimmy and Jimmy Butler, and rightfully so. But I feel like we got to talk about playoff Jamal Murray because, throughout the regular season, when it comes to the conversation of the top point guards, he often gets overlooked. We talk about the Stephs and the Dames, and people talk about Trae Young. No one really puts Jamal Murray into the mix, but tonight, once again, he delivered 37 points to go along with, 6 assists and 7 boards. Absolutely huge in this win. I know you spent a lot of time around Jamal. Talk to us about his game and how he can elevate that in the playoffs, because what he's doing is sensational.
It is sensational, but then this playoffs, especially for shooters, think of the run Devin Booker had and just flame throwing every night. So Jamal is kind of following suit to that. He's probably, quick thought, he's probably the best shooter left in the playoffs at this point. So with that type of ability, skill, and his mindset is he could lead a team, carry his team, and he's showing it.
Man, I think my favorite stat from this game, as great as Jamal is, and as great as the Joker is, the Joker's streak of triple doubles has ended, which is kind of crazy that we just come to expect a triple double.
Right.
But my favorite stat from this game, yeah, he only had 24, 8, and 6.
Come on,
My favorite stat from this game, though, is Michael Porter Jr. had a career high in assists. Guess how many he had for his career high?
4.
Yeah, because when you say career high, you're expecting like 12. He had 6 assists in the game.
But, oh, my goodness.
That boy has never seen a shot that he didn't like.
Like I said, a historic season for the Nuggets. That proves it right there. Michael Porter's passing.
I never thought I'd see the day. I really never thought I'd see the day. The other factor I like is KCP getting revenge on his old team. He had another double-digit performance, 17 points. Yeah. And then Bruce Brown, 15 points off the bench. I feel like those two guys right there are like the ideal role players for the NBA in its current form. They can contribute on any team that they're in. I know that they had Will Barton before and they traded him for KCP. How much of an upgrade do you think that is? Because Will Barton was more of a, create for himself off the dribble, go out and get himself a bucket, whereas KCP is more of a system player.
Oh, goodness. Oh, an upgrade. And Will is a bad boy. I'll give him that. He's a bucket. He does D up, can D up. But KCP offers a better looking for instant offense, like instant and Austin side. So between him and Bruce Brown is another one. He brings so much energy to the game until each possession that he's a force in himself.
What was your key takeaway from watching this game, though, on kind of your side of things?
Tonight's game?
Yes, sir.
LeBron noticeably ended the quarters strong, like real aggressive, real assertive. That was noticeable to me. I think Anthony Davis, with the up-down version of him, he's not reliable. LeBron's going to have to look elsewhere. So Lakers are in trouble. I just, like I said, versus the Suns, Denver's got more guys shooting than the bigger guns of the Lakers.
Yeah, the Lakers hadn't lost 3 straight games since February, and I think they were on a 9-game streak of winning games at home, which came to an end tonight. Obviously, for the Lakers, Anthony Davis's stat line: 28 points and 18 rebounds. Absolutely, huge stat line there, but it's more than just what goes into the stat line, especially on a night where, Nikola Jokic picked up his fourth foul. And, when he goes to the bench, you're kind of looking at it like, well, the Lakers can make a real run here and try run away with this while the big fella is sitting. But their contributions from their other guys, LeBron, 23, 12, and 7, Austin Reeves, 23, 7, and 5, and then Rui Hachimura, 13 points off the bench. But when D'Angelo Russell and Jared Vanderbilt, your other starters, are combining for 5 points between them, and then Schroeder's giving you 5 points off the bench and Troy Brown Jr. is giving you 2 points, that's just not going to do it, in terms of...
I got the answer. Rudy Hachimura needs more minutes. He needs more shots. The dude's a bucket, and they play him like he's a rookie trying to figure it out or something. He's look at his shooting percentage in these playoffs. The dude's been hibachi mode, like yikes.
Mm-hmm.
And what they need is offense, obviously, and what they're not getting from Russell, from Schroeder, like any of the guys that are starting minutes, not getting that offense.
Just for context, he's shooting 60% from the field in the playoffs with 55% from behind the arc. So I'm surprised, after the first game 1, or at least game 2, that they didn't make the move to put him in the starting lineup, because D'Angelo Russell, he's having a horrible time out there, and he's looking pretty unplayable for the Lakers, but Darvin Ham continues to stick with him. Do you think for game 4, we're going to see that kind of change going on?
I don't know about a starting change, but Hachimura needs more minutes.
He had 34 tonight, so you're trying to run him 40 plus?
Yeah, because it's win or go home or stay home for most of you. But they're in desperation mode. I don't think a starting lineup changeup is going to make that big a difference. They just need to figure out how to hunker down. But the bad part is LeBron showing, Father Time is on that back. You can see it. I mean, LeBron, like I said, watch his ending of the first and second quarter and third quarter as well. Just a lot of energy expended and a lot of force, and he's dominating, aggressive, but comes at a cost.
How much do you think having those first 2 games up in the altitude of Denver has really affected him?
The old LeBron, invincible, Megatron looking LeBron, I don't think it affected him. It's got effect. You see, he's still fast forward explosive, but he's not explosive vertically at times. Especially you can see on his inability to finish in the last 2 games of note. So there's some effect there.
It's crazy because, I was watching the last round against Golden State, and I was thinking, like, LeBron doesn't look like himself. He must just be saving the gas in his tank for the finals or for the conference finals. But it doesn't look like that's the case unless he's trying to pull off the impossible, come back from 3-0 down. I don't know. I know LeBron's done it a lot, but at some point, someone will do it, though. This is the thing. At some point, someone will do it.
Say that. And anything
it's a question of when. But do you see if you had to put a percentage chance on it for the Lakers, what are you putting on there?
0.00001. Yeah. This is called circling the drain.
Well, I don't know if they're going to get swept out of here. Surely they can at least get 1 at home before Denver closes out, don't you think?
You would hope. You would hope for the sake of just pride, for this season. Like, I mean, you got to feel bad for KD going out, with blowouts.
Yeah.
The Suns for going out with blowouts. So it's like you think LeBron has one, he's good enough to have 1 in him, right?
Yeah, surely. But on the other side of things, While you're here, I got to talk to you about the Miami Heat, who have the chance now to go up 3-0
Jeez.
against the Boston Celtics. Talk to you about that series, because we not really spoke about it. The series has been making me depressed. But you talk to me about your opinion on it, right? Because if the Celtics go
And
down 3-0, man, I
I've
don't even
withhold
know.
from calling you.
I know.
I purposely didn't call you because I was like, nah, leave it
My
alone.
man. Well, I
Leave
appreciate
it
you.
alone. Where I was at, I was the only one, if they call me rooting for Miami, I was like, no, I'm rooting for Jimmy Buckets and the rest of the group. So all night they were throwing these jabs and I was hearing it. And then Jimmy Bucket shows up like he does. It's like everybody shows on.
I've been having this conversation with a lot of people earlier today. They were talking about Grant Williams and talking trash to Jimmy Butler. And they were saying, oh, it's his fault the Celtics lost. He poked the bear. That's the new phrase everyone loves to use, right? I said,
right.
my brother, if you're in the woods with a bear, that's going to eat you whether you poke it or not. Like, right. I want to get your perspective because you've worked with some of the best athletes in the NBA.
Yeah.
In my head, it's like Jimmy Butler's going to take over the game in the fourth quarter with or without you saying anything to him. And if you got to talk your trash to get yourself going, go ahead. But what's your take on
that? That's the wrong person. One of few in the league right now. Jimmy Butler is one of the few that you absolutely don't want to poke or provoke or talk trash to because he's proven. I mean, he's dead set proven that he is him, and he likes to downplay it, but what he's doing is phenomenal. And that was the dumbest move ever, sending Grant Williams in there to, provoke him. That's like, okay, 3 possessions straight. How you feel about that, coach?
But you're assuming that he wouldn't have done that had Grant Williams not said anything to him. Whereas in my head, it's like Jimmy Butler was going to do that anyway.
Yeah, I hear you. And I agree with you, except for you just made sure of it when you just had to say something. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it would have been a quiet 3 next possessions, or it looked like that.
I hear it. Do you think that the Miami Heat are just going to run away with this the same way the Nuggets are running away with their series?
I don't think the NBA wants that. But yes, I think basketball purists want the Heat and the Nuggets going at it.
Well, when we talk about the best players in the playoffs, the Joker, Jimmy Butler, they're the 2 of the top 3. Like, after that, we got what? Devin Booker, he had a great playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
We had Tatum was great until this series began. I mean, it would make sense that the 2 best players in the playoffs meet each other in the NBA Finals. But stylistically, having the 1 seed in the West who is dominant all year, the 8 seed in the East, who with 3 minutes 24 remaining in a play-in against Chicago were down with Jimmy Butler missing a layup. That would be crazy to me.
About that.
That would be crazy.
It would if this wasn't today's NBA and if you didn't watch Miami all season putter and struggle and just do enough to keep people off their scent, so to speak. But yeah, they're not an 8 seed. They're proving that like they have all the pieces of a championship team and the coaching and the culture, and they have him. So this has been a beautiful watch.
And they're missing Tyler Hero and Victor Oladipo, which is 2 huge losses for them in terms of their depth. Right. But what do you think the Celtics need to do going into that game 3?
Right. It's the worst thing about the Celtics watching them. They're so talented. They're built for a world championship. But Tatum, he's check his numbers. He's as inconsistent as what they would say AD is with the Lakers. And then Jaylen Brown, for as good as he is, disappears with the best of them too. And where's Marcus Smart's defense? And Yeah, they're just they just let go of the rope with the best of them, and man, they've had what 8 losses at home in these playoffs.
This goes back to last year as well. Like even last year,
Yeah,
they were horrible at home, and then somehow they could win on the road, which doesn't make any
right.
sense. Like, have
None.
you ever seen this before in a team that just
No,
refused to win at home?
no. It's like that's disrespectful to your fans, ain't it? At a certain point, it's
Hmm.
like, hey, fellas, like, heck, win for home once. But
Yeah, and if you're
yeah,
if you refuse to win at home like that, you should have just lost a few extra games in the regular season because you don't need the home court advantage.
right,
Like, take the fifth
right.
seed if you really like being on the road that much.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, hold on. Why did you fight so hard for the home and then you lose at home? You want the buzz.
For me, the Celtics, the reason why I never bought into them as contenders all year long is their whole philosophy is just getting up threes. They want to get up more threes
Yeah.
than the other team, and they have to shoot 40% or more in order to win the game, right? And in the
Mm-hmm.
regular season, they got off to that crazy start. They got a crazy record. They built up their regular season record because, first of all, in the regular season, teams don't really guard like that. And they were
Right.
doing a great job of, getting 2 feet in the paint and spraying the ball out to shooters. Then once teams figured that out in not collapsing their defense and staying attached to shooters, you saw the Celtics go through that rough patch in the regular season. But they
Mm-hmm.
stayed with the same philosophy. And even throughout these playoffs, after every time they lose, it feels like Joe Mazzulla is saying, we just need to get up more threes. We just need to hit our threes. And now you're coming up against Eric Spoelstra, who knows this full well. And for me, I've always said, as the season's gone on, I'm like, this isn't a formula to win a championship. You might win a round, you might win 2 rounds, but you're
Right.
not going to win an NBA championship if your philosophy is predicated upon getting threes up and hitting 40% of them, because that's just not going to be sustainable.
Well, unfortunately, Golden State proves you can jack a bunch of threes and still win, but it's just
Man, they've got Steph Curry.
yeah. Well, that's just it. It's like yeah, that personnel. They even got Klay Thompson. That
Mm-hmm.
personnel is a lot different. The Splash Brothers are a lot different look than Jalen and Jason. As far as
Mm-hmm.
shot making, so it's not. It's bad math for Joe Mazzulla to be sticking to this and sticking to his guns and getting ready to die on that hill for not making much of any adjustments in this series at this point. Tough.
Last season, their success was predicated upon their defense, but we've not really seen that this year. What do you think is the main reason for that?
Where's Marcus Smart? Where's all that D that changes the possessions? It changes the look of a quarter. Like he's non-existent with his killer defense. So that's the start of it. And I just think Jalen and Jason get disinterested when they both are not hitting shots, or if I dare even say if one of them is hitting and taking off shots and the other isn't, that defensive side, their willingness goes way out.
Mm. What I've been saying all year is for Marcus, his body looks like it's just being worn down from being the player he is and going hard on every possession. It looks like it's started to take its toll, especially with a shortened off season, because they made a deep run into the finals last year. And the same with Al
Yeah.
Horford and Robert Williams since his surgery has just not looked the same. So defensively, they've not really been the same. But for me, it just goes back to the principles of this is the playoffs. Look at what Jimmy Butler does and look at where he does it from on the court, right? He's going to go into that mid-range and he's going to get himself a bucket. Jason Tatum, we've seen throughout his career, has the ability to do that. But now it's either at the rim or the three-point line. It's like you look at the shot chart for the Celtics team and it looks like a 2018 Houston Rockets squad. It's either a three or a layup or dunk. Like, why have they gone so far away from the mid-range?
They're reading the analytics that say that it's just the dumbest thing, and not the dumbest thing. It's just the most annoying thing when you're watching them, because those two players in particular, Jalen and Jason, they're so good. But they just look so bad collectively when they just want to jack the three and not running any offense. That's where I think one adjustment would be Brogdon needs to start. They need someone to have that thing flowing where the shots are easy.
Rather than Derek White. Because I don't think the two big
well,
lineup is what they should stick with in a series, because putting two bigs out there allows for Kevin Love. If you take away one of the bigs,
yeah,
Kevin Love's got to guard someone on the perimeter, and he ain't gonna be able to do that. Whereas playing Al Horford and Rob Williams, he can hide out there.
Yeah. They got to do something. They're in trouble. Like they're in trouble where they just need perimeter D. So maybe the two bigs make sense, so they don't want to drive. But Missoula has to do something because it's going to get ugly. I think the worst thing about tonight is Jimmy Buckets is sitting there watching Denver handle business in a professional manner, whereas they had nothing to losing this game in particular. But so I think a Jimmy Butler's mindset is, that's exactly what I want from my team.
Man, listen, who's your prediction for this next Celtics and Heat game 3?
Heat. The way Jimmy. It's not just him playing at such a high level. You can see him literally pulling up his teammates' level.
Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, and these guys who you would never expect to be making contributions in a deep playoff run, but they're playing way out of their usual ability.
High level. Martin, that's Bruce Brown's version for Denver is Martin for the Heat. He does everything.
Mm-hmm.
And without a play call, geez, it's incredible.
Man, and we talk about throughout the playoffs, we were like, okay, cool, the Celtics got the deepest bench in the league. You've got the sixth man of the year. You've got, right now, you've got an all defensive guard coming off the bench. But Miami's team somehow, it looks like it's like they got Duncan Robinson making real contributions in the playoffs after not playing for a whole year. Like he's not played for 2 years, and yet here he is.
Here he comes, and that's what I'm saying is it's so different. They say the Heat culture, and that's really a thing. Like they really do buy all in, and if you're not bought in, they'll give yourself a chance to self-correct, and then you're out. Because they want the guys that understand we don't necessarily need a superstar. We just need a leader and some followers. And man, they're impressive, bro. But just as impressive is Denver right now, too.
For me, it's like a lot of people expect me to hate the Miami Heat because obviously they're playing against my favorite team or whatever. But the Miami Heat, I respect them so much because they just stick to their principles and the core fundamentals of basketball. They play hard on defense every possession. They're trying to run the ball on the outlet. They work the ball to find the best shot possible when they can. You just got to respect it. It's just the way they play the game, the way the game should be played. And it's the same with the Denver Nuggets. They got the superstar in Jokic, but they're still moving the ball. They're cutting off ball, which we barely see in the NBA. When you watch the Celtics, it's one guy dribbling, trying to find a shot. Whereas the Nuggets, Mike Malone's got them running beautiful offense. They're drawing up. They've got different plays that they go to in their bag to get different guys open. And then defensively, they're covering for each other's mistakes if mistakes are being made. So, credit to them. You got the Nuggets closing out the series in 4?
Yeah. And here's the funny part to your point is so my guy Sinan Gule from Istanbul. Shout out to Sinan. That's my guy. He's here in Indianapolis with this VCOM conference, but we finally got to get out tonight, sit down and break bread. And he made an interesting comment during the game. I think it was second quarter. He was saying, NBA is so funny because in EuroLeague at this point of the season, meaning the playoffs, the ball moves more. There's more strategy to get to a shot versus the NBA is whoever's got the ball, that's the one shooting. It's kind of profound to take that aback, think about that thought as we were talking over dinner tonight. But and then to answer your question, I would hope LA would help me out because I do want to go out to Denver for Game 5 and take in that energy and take my notes on just watching it all happen for Denver. But yeah, I don't think Monday night's gonna look good for LA.
I mean, Game 5 of this series or Game 1 of the finals, my brother. Like, that's all you. I think,
so lined up.
BJ went to LA. BJ went to LA today for his last chance to see the Lakers this season, I think.
Yeah, good choice. Good choice.
So yeah, that's that. CT, man, appreciate you jumping on as always. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Always.
It's all love. It's all love. You guys can find CT, World Domination Basketball. Search that up online. And yeah, we'll be back with more. This is the Hoop Genius podcast. Stay ready because the games keep on rolling. The games keep on rolling. And I know it's never been done, but at some point in NBA history, he said a team's never come back from 3-1 before, and then that happened. A team's never come back from 3-0 before.
0.00001. Happen, not gonna.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. It might even happen for the Celtics if they lose tomorrow. Hey. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the show. We'll be back tomorrow with more. In the meantime, get buckets.